Hi, Angela here with A Life Designed. And, you can work with a coach and get accountability. That's what coaches are there for and help you with. However, sometimes it makes sense to have an accountability partner, especially if you need to have someone in your life doing this for a long period of time. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about picking an accountability partner. What is that all about? And 5 steps for how to pick one, how to pick a great accountability partner for yourself. Okay, so let's jump in. And I'm assuming you know what an accountability partner is. This is someone you choose for support and to have part of your support system, or rather, you choose each other to have as part of each other's support system. And you share each other's goals and with each other, and you help keep each other accountable toward reaching those goals. That's essentially the core of what an accountability relationship is all about. Now, if you're anything like me, you might be thinking, I'm pretty self-accountable. Do I really need someone else to keep me accountable? Well, maybe you don't, but I can tell you, based on my personal experience, it can't hurt. And it will only help you accelerate your results. So here's my story. I know this personally because in 2008, I read this fabulous book, Creating a Life Worth Living by Loeb. The subtitle is A Practical Course in Career Design for Artists, Innovators, and Others Aspiring to a Creative Life. Now, at the time, I was considering a career change, so it made total sense that I would check out this book. And in it, she has a chapter called Building a Bridge You Can Jump On. I love that title. And it's all about setting yourself up a support system to help you make a radical shift. And again, like a career change, like what I was doing at the time. Now, Lloyd didn't really call it an accountability partner. She called it partnering. And in fact, in the book, she has this quote. She says, partnering is a formalized friendship that you set up with one other person to keep you focused on the best, most important parts of your life. So at the time I thought, okay, I like the way this sounds. So I decided I was going to give it a try. And I reached out to and had lunch with a person that was a good friend of mine. She still is a great friend. And at the time, we used to meet typically once a month for lunch. And I thought, this is a natural thing. Let's just ask her. And she told me no. She let me down gently because, like I said, she's a good friend. But she just did not want to change the nature of our relationship. So I had to move on. And I don't give up easily on anything ever. So, of course, it made sense for me to move on to the next thing. And I was attending a business conference around that same time. And I met this person. She was totally new to me. I had never met her before. She was new to town. And we hit it off at the business conference, and we decided, let's go get coffee. I think it was coffee. Coffee and pancakes. That's what we did. We met for coffee and pancakes a couple of weeks later. And I remember sitting there over the cinnamon pancake and coffee and asked her, because it hit me. This is the person that I should ask to be my accountability partner. I had this hunch, this intuition. And so I went ahead and blurted it out and told her all about it. And she said yes, no hesitation. She said yes. And all these years later, she's still my accountability partner. And in case you're wondering, it's Myrna King, who is the co-founder of A Life Designed. Hey, who knew all those years ago that all these years later, we'd be kind of doing this venture together. But sometimes things work out that way. Anyway, I can personally attest to the fact that finding someone else who is who gets what you're doing, who wants to support what you're doing, it will help you stay focused. It will help keep you positive. And supporting someone else in that same way, it really gives you a lift as well. It makes you feel so good too, to help them. And that equal exchange it's just dynamite. All right, now that I have you convinced, I hope, to go out and find yourself an accountability partner, let's talk about 5 steps for picking one that is right for you. All right. So step 1, you need to start with defining what it is that you really want to get out of the relationship. So it's defining the accountability relationship, partnership. And so, of course, naturally, the reason you want to do this is because you're looking for someone to keep you accountable toward achieving and getting your goals. But you want to be more specific than that if you can help it, because there could be a variety of options that you or the partner could have. And so getting some clarity ahead of time and thinking through those things will help you later when it's time to approach that person. So some examples might be that you want to get feedback and opinions. You might want some help with some of the ideas and plans that you have. You might want someone to be a sounding board, someone who you can bounce the ideas off of them, and they won't judge you for it. That's very important. But it's like, you can simply talk out loud. And this is not the same thing necessarily as getting feedback, because maybe they're not giving you feedback. You're just talking. And in the talking of it and talking it out loud, you get more ideas, or the idea turns into an answer, like you come up with your own answer. And that makes sense too, that maybe you might have some problems they can help you solve, problem solving, brainstorming. I think all that can be very important. They might have ideas for resources. That's happened in our relationship. We're both very resources driven people, and we gather resources and share them with everyone we know. We have that in common. So a lot of times we're sharing resources with each other. And one final thing that you might think about, an example, would be that maybe you just want to meet your accountability partner to just simply report on and share your progress. This is like the main reason why I have and love having an accountability partnership, is because it helps me to get really organized around setting a goal. The meeting itself keeps me accountable, but being able to show up and be able to talk about my goals and how I'm doing towards them, super helpful. And it helps me with the clarity and the focus. And we also celebrate wins together. So that might be something that you put on your list of how you'll celebrate your significant milestones and wins together. Okay, so step 2, describe what you ideally want your partner to be like. So these are like the qualities that you're looking for in your partner. And I think it's important to think about this too ahead of time, instead of just kind of going with your gut. Just kind of give it some thought. I wrote down a few here that I'm going to share with you, just a few things that I'm thinking that would be important qualities. Having respect for each other's values, and they may be different. You might have different values. You might come from different walks of life. You might have different spiritual perspectives. You might have different values. So having respect for each other's values, even though those may be different, is, I think, really critical to make this relationship work. Any relationship work, really, but especially this one. Being open-minded and objective, and, to me, especially important, I mentioned it earlier, not judgmental, non-judgmental of each other's goals. So what might be right for her is not going to necessarily be right for me, but that's her, not me. Why would I judge that just because it's not right for me? So keeping that in mind. Another one is being confidential and discreet. So you might share with each other things that you would never share with anyone else, or maybe it's a problem that you're working through and you will get to the end of it, and you don't need to necessarily broadcast to other people, but it's nice to have someone you can trust that you can talk with about that. The other thing that I'm thinking is really important is when you're supportive and not competitive. So that's another thing, like, she's getting her goals and I'm not getting my goals yet. I feel so bad about myself. No, it's not about that. Or I have my goals and she didn't. You see, no competition. All right. I'm really thinking too, what also is very important, and I know what has been successful for us, is giving and receiving equally to each other, especially of the time that we spend in the session. So what we do is we split it in half. Whatever time that session is, one of us will take half the time and the other one will take the other half of the time. So that's really, I think, pretty important. And another one you might think about too is the communication part of it. I mean, good communication is the key to all successful relationships, right? Again, especially with this one. For me, an important quality of communication is that we have compassionate honesty with each other. And those two terms are super important. Honesty, but yet doing it and delivering honest feedback in a compassionate way, in a compassionate and caring way. I mean, I don't need people to just kind of hit me upside the head with a hard truth. I just don't need that. I'll do that enough to myself, but I want other people to be a little bit more gentle if possible. So anyway, these are some good ones that I came up with for you. If there are any other qualities you can think of, put them down on your list and make a note of them. All right, step 3. Figure out ideal structure and logistics for how you're going to meet. So how frequently would you like to meet? Would it be weekly? Would it be monthly? My partner and I, we meet every Monday morning. So we start off the week, and it's a weekly meeting. You might think about the time of the day that's most important to you. Is it morning, evening, after hours, lunchtime, is it the weekend? That kind of thing. How long will your meeting be? Will it be an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours? How long will that be? Is another thing to be thinking about. And then how you will meet. Will it be in person? Will it be virtual, on the phone, via Zoom, or some other video conferencing method? And then I think also too, it's important from a logistical perspective to think about how your meeting is going to flow. Like I just told you, we give each other equal time. So are you going to come like that? Do you want to share an agenda with each other's agenda? In the early days, we did that. We would write our lists out and then we'd send it to each other. Well, that's gone away. We still write lists and we show up to the meeting with lists, but we don't necessarily share them ahead of time. But you could do that. Or you can just kind of go organically and naturally with the flow. So you just have to decide what that is. It's just, these are important things to think about. It's just a matter of doing that. And by the way, you want to do this because when you figure out what your ideal logistics are or what you could accommodate, then that will help you better when it's time to approach the person. All right, step 4. Now that you've done all this defining and idealizing what you're looking for, it's time to make a list of potential partners. So you want to go and look at, your list of people from your network, from your social network. Look around, and see who you know and who would maybe possibly partner with you. And keep in mind, it could be someone you know or someone you hardly know. So don't rule all those things out. And if you hardly know them, then now you have some definitions so that you can understand when you're having a conversation, you have a benchmark to kind of judge against to see if this could be a good fit for you. Carol Loyd, in her book, she gives some great advice in the book about who not to pick as your accountability partner. So I'm going to read right from her book. She says, if you are tempted to pick a spouse, a lover, or a new infatuation, please reconsider this urge. It may work out for a while, but sooner or later, the love relationship will be more important, and she puts in parentheses, or more horrific than the partnering one. She also really wisely points out that your accountability partner does not have to be a close friend. And like mine didn't start off that way. I mean, she's a close friend now, but she didn't start off that way. So that's Carol Loyd's advice. All right, step 5. It's time to approach your potential partners to see if they'll say yes. And after you've made this list, you want to, maybe go to your top preference and then kind of work from there. And keeping, of course, what you came up with step 1 in your mind and so forth to how you're going to talk about it with this individual, how you're going to approach it. And going back to Carol Loyd again, she has some good advice about this as well. She says, explain to your potential partner that you will be starting a partnership of practical emotional support where both of you can use each other to achieve your goals, clarify your long-term vision, and develop and maintain a balanced creative process. So I think that's a good way to put it. So, all right, those are the 5 steps for picking your accountability partner, one that's right for you. But don't forget about coaching as a resource. I mean, our team of coaches can help you too with your accountability and can help you stay accountable. So don't be afraid to reach out to us and let us know that you're interested. If you want, you can download our free guide if you still have questions about coaching and how to work well with a coach. And you can also get on Myrna's calendar. She would love to talk with you about our coaching program. She loves talking about coaching. And I'll put those links below. I'll put Myrna's calendar link as well as the free guide link below. So check those out. Now, one more thing. If you've made it this far in the video, I'm guessing you enjoyed it. So please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos and our live streams. All right, so that's all for today. And until I see you next time, be well.